Hey friends, how y'all doing? Y'all good or y'all not good? Are y'all trying to find to be good or are you trying to find to be good? Is good this or is good that? Is it over here where you can't see it or is it over here where you can kind of see it? So, well, another day to be wasted most likely. And I need to do things. Well, probably won't do things, but we'll try. We'll give it a shot. Now, one thing I learned that you can do. No, we're not even going to start. Because if you start, then we'll never stop. You can't always be sarcastic. You can't always do that. I have been looking through. I found my old phone, my Galaxy S3, which I miss. I wish I could just keep using this. I think I could, actually. I don't know why I wouldn't be able to. I don't know. There's probably something like, well, it doesn't have a card device for it to be able to track you, or what. I don't know. Now, as I was looking through it, I wanted to find some old recordings. The ones that I thought were on there were not on there, turns out. But there were a lot of recordings that were on there that I didn't even remember. And as I was going through it to kind of discern, because it just says voice 1, voice 2, voice 3. So I'm like, well, fuck, I don't know. So I had to listen to it all, right? And it started in 2017. Went up to about 2019. So there was that span. And as I was listening, and it's in order of time, the more I realized parts of my life that I've totally forgotten about, totally blanked out. It's pretty crazy the more I think about it. Like, there's this chunk of my life that, you know, where I was living and where I ended up in those 2 years is insane. You know? Like, it was kind of an emotional thing to kind of go through it all. And to see, you know, everything that came to be and the friendships and stuff. And I don't even know how truthful I should be. It's like one of those things, like, should I just like say the realness of it all or just be vague constantly? I don't know. It's hard to like know what I should and shouldn't say, because it's, you know, I don't want to go against other people's, you know, they lived it too. I don't want to like put them somewhere they don't want to be. But I didn't realize 2018 for me was a very difficult year, because in those recordings, and I don't remember how many there was like, I don't know, like 90 of them or something. Only one was from 2018. That's crazy. A lot of it was 2017, a lot of it was 2019. 2017 was this era where it's like, you can hear the book being created and stuff and talked about. And you can hear the music too, that me and Kevin would do together. But you can hear all that stuff happening right now. But then you go forward from there and you start to hear the music take over, and then the book took a back seat. But in 2018 there was nothing. Which made me realize that 2019 was the year that, you know, I wasn't talking with Jacob very much, and Kevin and I weren't really working on the book too much either, because we weren't talking as well. And 2019 was me piecing together everything in the book. Like, what is this book? That's what that year was for me. It's like, what the fuck is this book? Slowly in time, we'd start talking again. And then from that point, we just picked up. in like 2020, that was the most productive year of the book. You know, like in the real world, I guess there was like this COVID stuff going on. But for me, it wasn't really, it was so productive. And that's kind of in 2019, that's when those recordings happened when I was by myself. The podcasts on the channel, that's when that happened. So it's like, I just, it's hard to like put into words, like, ...2017, so coming up to 2017, the book was always being worked on, and it was with me and Kevin and stuff like that. And that's when Jacob got involved. Around 2017, I think. I don't know, though. Maybe it wasn't. It's just like, it's crazy to me because I'm trying to piece together my life, and then that thing, it clicked in my head. I'm like, why have I forgotten so much of my 20s? Why are my 20s this like fucking foggy, like I have no clue what happened? You know, like I have to like have these, you know, have people either tell me like this is where you were generally around the time, this is, you know, what you kept talking about, is what you were doing, but then I also had to like all these recordings to say like, well, like, okay, so that's what was happening, so that's where I was living, and I was here. Okay, I remember now, because from 2017, I lived with another friend, and I wasn't doing a whole lot then either, because in 2016 I was coming out of like a deep depression, to which I had been working on the book from 2016 all the way back to 2000, whatever, I don't remember, the beginning, the first year, whatever it was. I'll be right back. Okay, I just had to take a shit. I couldn't hold it. Now, as I was thinking, so I'll come down a little bit. I was like, you know, thinking about these parts of my life that I've forgotten about. And I was thinking about the things that we've all been through, like me and my friends, and the woman I'm with and all that. And just all this stuff I just, you know, forgot about. Now, I got thinking, like, what is depression, right? And like, if someone were to say, like, how do you describe it? Like, how do you, you know, how could you visually, or whatever, I don't know, tell us what it feels like? I always try to think, like, well, it's like a sensation, right? At least it is for me. Now, it's this looming, like, dark, let's just say maybe a cloud, or this like stormy clouds, maybe that might be good. It just feels like it's always like just right there. Either it's all on you and it's upon you, and it's downcast and it's a torrent, and it's like you can't see it. Its rain is so hard, and like thunder and the lightning and the high winds and all that. It's like that, or it's just right beyond. It's just right there. It's not on you yet, and you might be having a good time, but it's always like a storm cloud, right? That's the old expressions that they would say, and you'd seen pictures. You know, you'd have the storm cloud over you, but that doesn't go away. It feels like it's always going to be there. It's just, you know, you live in England, so it's not raining today, but it might in 3 seconds. You don't know. It's always overcast. Like, it feels that way. So what happens is you learn how to navigate it like that. You learn to enjoy the wet weather and always feeling that way. You learn to enjoy always being cold. Or any elements that people consider negative. You know, people don't like forecasty. They don't like overcast, gray, and rainy, and cold. People just, for some reason, don't like that. I found that because of the feelings like that, you have to embrace that sensation. You have to just say, well, there's joy within here somewhere. And it's like some sort of aspect of like, are you lighting up the dark? Or are you just fooling yourself? Do not know. Because it's like, you could say that if depression was like this sensation that can take you, and it is without you as well as within you, well, you could say when it comes upon you, you might be able to, like in my mind, depression, darkness, and all that, that's the same thing, darkness and depression. In my mind, it's an entity, a wounded entity. And it lingers above us all, and it takes each one of us when we allow it to. And so because of that, there might be a mindset of like, well, maybe if I get in there and find the healing source of it, maybe if I get in there and try to help this feeling. Because for me, when I feel in a dark area, it doesn't necessarily feel like it's me, but it's me within it. And I don't want to make myself better, I want to make this thing better. Now, you can kind of see the correlation to what the darkness is in the book and what the whisper is, because it's like this omnipotent, you could say malevolent, I guess, being that mankind or the Anaku have no control over. You know, if you look at all the little metaphors in the book, you can see things like that. I don't really like actively, you know, sit down and like, okay, it has to mirror the way I feel. It just becomes, right? It just happens to be. As Gakko agrees. Gakka? Want to come out and say hi? Yeah. Okay. Now, that's how it feels. Depression. Yeah. And I don't really know if it's something I invite or something that comes to me. Because you know, the previous one, it does, like, that's how I feel sometimes. The previous video that I put up, where it's just like you don't have the drive, you don't really have the care, the mindset, none of it. You don't really want to do anything. You do, but you can't. And sometimes going back into like your old life, so like all those recordings, for instance, I went back and re-listened to all these old cool songs that me and Kevin were working on. And then I like listened to, me and Kelly were joking around on a couple of them. And it helps you find, like, even though that time, it kind of, I don't know how to word it, it's like, make sure that you don't cast a shadow on your past and lump it all into, it was a horrible time. You know, and trying to remember all these good moments of it, and it wasn't so bad. That's a good thing about going back. You know, I know that it's good to stay in the moment, and I know it's good to not dwell, but I think sometimes you do have to go back and make sure that the labels are correct. Make sure that, you know, your inventories is correct in terms of, like, this wasn't just a big shit show. So, like, for me, my entire 20s, it's you know, I can't remember a lot of it for whatever reason, and that's like a whole separate thing to talk about. But because of that, I have to find ways to remember things, and luckily I'm around certain people that are very good about that. Like, I have two friends that are very, like, oh, they can remember dates and times, and you were doing this, and like I was saying, I also have people in my life that know me enough that can help me piece together things. But the big one too is the recordings. And the recordings are correlated to the book, generally, or music. Like, if I'm collaborating a fun little song with someone, I'll hit record on my phone, like, hey, let's just have this. But mostly it's, if anything about the book comes up, I hit record, because I have such a bad memory. But since I've done that, it's shown me aspects of my life. And luckily it'll tell you when you did it. Not where, but it'll tell you when. Like, it was this date at this time of this year. Like, okay, cool. I generally know then I was living there then. And it becomes like an anchor to what you were doing. So for me, that's why it's really important to find a source of this is where you were, and maybe it wasn't all bad. Don't allow these negative thoughts to say your life has been all bad. I generally don't feel that way. I feel like my life has been pretty good. It's just those creeping thoughts are very, very strong, and there are times where it can really start to trick you about wanting to be alive, or wanting to look at your life certain ways and see if it's a wasted life, or if you have addiction issues with things. It's a complicated fucking mess, honestly. But there are things that we do within the art that we don't really realize is art. And like, for instance, what I'm talking about is like all these little demos. I don't remember how many there are. There's over 20, let's say. 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, I don't know. It just depends. One demo might be just like playing chords. One might be playing chords and singing a little bit, or whatever it is. And you do something like that. So for a creative person that might understand it, in that moment it doesn't feel like anything. For me, I have a hard time taking that and going somewhere with it. I'm going to take that little cool guitar riff that I found, I'm going to build off of it. Because I'm just like, it sucks. It's not great. But then I listen back, I'm like, that's fucking me playing? I can do that? Like, it's in my life, I get caught in these cycles of doing the same thing over and over and over again, and not being able to break free of fucking anything. I feel trapped. I listen to the same songs over and over again. I talk about the same shit, and I just do the same things, and it just drives me fucking nuts. And so I try to bust out of that, and I go somewhere new. And because of that, there's like these weird aspects of my creative journey that it's like 1 minute I'm doing these weird paintings and stuff like that, the next minute I'm fucking doing this, and because I'm just trying to break free of the monotony of it all. But it only lasts long enough to finally want to break free again. So if I break free from one moment of my life, like, there's so much unfinished work there. There's a bunch of half-written songs and half-painted pictures and fucking whatever other forms of art I will be doing, and I'm moving on to the next. I don't want to, I'm not here to make things final, I guess, and I just move to the next place. And then there's this, like, behind me is this scattered mess of unfinished work, and it's gotten to be so much it feels like a monumentous task to sit and try to complete everything. But I have this backlog of, like, if I'm ever feeling like I don't have anything, well, I got a lot of things in the backlog to bring up and rework on. But then that accesses a new thought in my mind. It's like, well, then that means we're always living in the past. We're always doing things that we never finished. Right now, what you're working on is things you didn't finish this many years ago. And so is that charging forward? Is that living a life correctly when it comes to what brings true, maybe not happiness, but true fulfillment? The fact that you're constantly working on things from years ago means right now you're always dwelling within that past. Is there a point to which I need to just cut it off and say, fuck it, and just move on? You know what I mean? And that is where, like, there are these two foundations that I'm faced with. Is music and the book. It's just these two foundations, and there's so much unfinished work. If the source of the book is right here, this entire area is just full on both of the pillars. Full of, like, old stories, old songs, ideas of some description, unfinished works, and like all this stuff is just loaded within these two foundations. At what point do I continue to draw from this well of my life, or at what point do I cut it off and move on? that's kind of where I'm stuck in life. Like, at what point is living now not doing things that were thought about before? Acting out dreams, acting out visions, and ideas that you might have had some period of time ago. Is that from the point in which you can break free and truly be in the moment? I don't know. Because it's all connected to everything I've ever done. For the sake of this, like, channel, I guess, the book. You know, we'll take the musical, we'll set it over here. But the book, like, the whole philosophy is wrapped around that. You know, when I talk about the way time works, you know, past and present, and the chains of time, there's that video. That's generally how that shit works. It's why that was created, is because of this feeling of that's what I was doing. And what it invoked within me to create a kind of a concept for the book to rest in. And it's like this book has become a door to place things in. Like, the aspects of my life that I've lived, the things that I've viewed in it, like how I've looked at life, my experiences, my interests, the friendships that I have, and all of just my human experience has been gathered up and just put into this fucking place. I'm moving into it. I'm setting it up, and I'm making the rooms, and I'm like figuring out where I'm going to live and stuff like that. Like, I'm moving into a new home. That's what it is. I'm placing myself within it slowly. I don't even, like, I'm getting better about it now, but there was some years, and it was, I think, 2019 into 2020, that I didn't even know what wasn't and what was the book. Like, I was so involved in it that there was only the book, which is this world. It's all there was. You know, I didn't even realize the real world was happening. Like, what was it called? Was it the coronavirus? Is that what it was? That fucking thing happened, and everyone seems to, like, have been affected by it, and I'm just like, I don't know, not really. Because I was working night shift, and then I was working only on the book. Those are the only two things. I'd work from fucking 7 at night to like 4 in the morning, or whatever it is, I don't remember, whatever 8 hours is. I'd get out and work on the book, go to sleep, and then go work at night. And I worked with one person, me and one person, who I talked to about 20 minutes out of those 8 hours. And that was my life for, a few years. So, like, I only had the book. I didn't do anything else. I did nothing. I just went the book. And it's like, am I holding on to it because that's all I feel like I have? Or, like, because the friends that I have, Kevin and Jacob, they're involved in it too in some way, shape, or form. So it's like, that's the bastion of, like, friendships that I may have. I don't know. It can get very foggy, all of this shit. I don't know. I just sometimes wonder if I've gone too far within this book. Like, it's my entire life. Is that a good thing? I don't know. I really don't know. Everything in this office is the book. There's like one painting that isn't. That map of Suffolk or whatever. But everything else is. I've never really... there was a period of my life actually that I did in 2000 something, 21 or 20, I don't know anymore, but there was some months of a certain year that I tried to escape and didn't even think about the book for a long time. I've done it a few times, and 2018 was one of them. I didn't even really think about it. I didn't want to. And then I did it again, but I just don't remember when that was. I know I was living in Clinton. What is that, like 2021 maybe? I don't know. But there was two eras, you know, for many months, over 6 months on one of them. On the other one, I don't remember. But I was trying to just say, like, I'm not even going to fucking think about it. But then I came back because I missed it. So it's such a weird thing. I can't seem to like shake like what to do. And like there's a part of me now that's like, should I work on the Hafel? Talking about this makes me not want to, honestly. Makes me want to just not do it for a while. Because why am I? But then there's another part of me like, you gotta get this done. It's such a strange thing, and I don't know how to explain it. When creating a world like this, I don't know, man. I don't know. You've had to have like some dark ass shit going on in your life, or things you're really trying to escape to want to make a fucking world. And part of the reason why I make these videos and make this channel is to allow in. Like the two big ones that I can think of, and because I'm so limited in my knowledge of fantasy, are Lord of the Rings, obviously, Tolkien, and The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. I know there's more. What about Brandon Sanderson stuff? I know there's more. And Patrick Rothfuss and shit. But I'm just like talking about fantasy worlds that are just, how do I word this? A Tolkien and a Robert Jordan I feel much closer to than, Brandon Sanderson and fucking Patrick Rothfuss and some other modern fantasy writers. I don't know any of them. I feel closer to those guys than these ones because I didn't do this because I loved fantasy and I wanted to make my own world and explore this and that, and I enjoyed reading fantasy and it's this and that. It was never that. It was always, it happened on accident, and now I'm just sitting here doing this fucking shit. I don't know how to word it, man. I just feel like I'm walking into it. Maybe those two, because they're both dead, maybe they were dealing with more than they would ever care to explain. And the funny thing is, they're both veterans of a war, right? Tolkien, World War One, and then Robert Jordan I think he was in Vietnam. And they don't talk a lot. You can find on two hands the interviews of those guys. At least right now for me. And it's almost like it was such a pity that they didn't get this long form of talking like this. I know that Tolkien has his letters and stuff from his son, and but the actual man's words are like Robert Jordan. His actual words. That's why I'm doing it for myself. Because this fantasy world, when I finally fucking release it, and if anyone ever reads it and enjoys it, it'll be this thing here where you can see why it was done. Because, people will have questions. Why was it done? How was it done? And that's just like the technical shit in the book, where it's just like, this faction that you created, what was the point of that? Or what was the reason behind these characters and blah blah blah. Like that'll be explored, obviously. But also the Inner Thoughts series is to me very important because though it's a very long form and it's only about 5 people in the world might want to actually hear it, it's there. If you really want to know like the nuts and bolts of like what my mind was like just trying to go through this, here it is. You know, I'm trying to be unfiltered as much as I can. There are certain things I do withhold for privacy's sake, but other than that, I'm a pretty open book when it comes to how I feel about things and my viewpoints on it. But that's the whole purpose of it. And I don't ever want it to be, I won't really talk about the bad stuff. I'll only kind of mention, like, no, I'm going to make sure I shine a light on both. There are times where it's very enjoyable. And there's times where it's absolutely horrible. And you don't even know it is until you start talking. It's like, I didn't even know, like right now, this video and the previous one and the one before that are actually pretty negative. I didn't realize that I was feeling that way, but I started talking, and I was like, oh, I guess I feel that way. I felt fine. But then the words come out, I'm like, well, I guess I wasn't fine. That's what gets hard with it, you know? You don't realize you're in the middle of darkness until you start speaking, and you're like, oh, that doesn't sound joyful. Okay, so we're not feeling great, you know, like that kind of stuff. And that directly correlates with the creative aspects of it when it's like, work on the Hafel today. Asking me right now to work on the Hafel feels like saying like, hey, it's your day off, do you want to go into work? And you don't like your fucking job at all. And you're like, oh my God, no. That's what it feels like right now. You want to work on the Hafel? Like, I don't have any fucking interest whatsoever. And it's been 10 days since the last video. Like, does it matter? I don't know. How much do I, like, you know, part of me, it's like, they're fucking there and it's fine. You know, who cares? I don't know. I don't know their history. I don't know anything anymore. What year did that happen? I don't know. It gets tough. It really, really does. And that's where I feel as, I don't know, man. It's difficult sometimes. Like I've said that before. Whenever I release a video, 2 people watch it instantly. I don't know who they are, but that's very nice. I bet it's family. Let's be honest. It's not like, I really feel like the only people that watch my videos are just family members and friends, which is fine. I'm not complaining about that. It's just like, it's probably just always gonna be that way. You know what I mean? Because it's always the same. It's 2 every fucking time I'll put a video out, 2 views. It's like, okay, who are they? Doesn't tell me. Who are the fucking people that are just like, as soon as like, oh, it's out, I want to watch it. So I don't even see most of my subscribers. I only get to see a few. The ones that are, what is the word? Not private, whatever that word is. That's it. Like, I don't know, man. Whoever it is. 100 views in 30 days. It's not bad. That's about my average. But anyway, that's about all I should talk about that. Yeah, I don't know. Who are they? Average watch time. Total watch time since the video was published, 0.1. What does that even mean? They watched a minute of it and we're like, nah. I don't even know how to read that. 15? What does that mean? Oh, they got in about 30 minutes in. No, the first 30 minutes of it being... okay. Yeah, they watched... I don't even know how to activate that in my mind. It's a 47-minute video. Is it saying they only watched like a couple minutes of it? That sounds about right for a modern person. I don't know. Maybe they are younger someone. I can't do more than a couple minutes. Like, you're on a channel about a man bitching about his life. What are you doing here? Who knows? We'll see. Like what life is anymore when it comes to this shit. But that's cool, I guess. Boom. Well, friends, I'm gonna keep trying. Keep on keeping on. Make videos and do book stuff. You know, you should probably work on your real book, your actual book. I should. It's already done. I just have to review it. I have to reread it again for the millionth fucking time. I don't like reading it anymore. I don't. I get it. I've read it a million times. Like, to me, it makes sense. I'm not gonna see the errors because I'm gonna be like, what do you mean? Like, well, like this part here, you didn't really elaborate. Like, you don't need to. Just fucking. I already know what's gonna happen. That's hard to disassociate. Editors. That's what I need. So again, I will call out upon an editor. My Jew. What is that from Family Guy? If I wish upon a Jew or something. It's the same thing, but editors. So that's that. Oh shit. You know what? Friday. I have that thing to go to. Try to remember this time.